Hey y'all, it's Will Campbell with Royal LePage and the Campbell Group. For those of you who've been following along for a little while, this time last year I released a video for my market predictions for the year of 2022. It was actually kind of bizarre how close I was, because a lot of them I wasn't too sure about. I kind of thought they might happen or whatever, but it's actually kind of freaky how close they were to being true. And it was also my #1 watched video all year long. So I figured I'd put together another video here to go over what my predictions are for the year of 2023. And I gotta be honest with you, some of these I'm hoping I'm right, others I'm hoping I'm wrong. But before we get into it, if you're somebody who likes to stay up to date on the real estate market here in Halifax or any and all real estate trends, make sure you subscribe to this channel as well as check off that notification bell so that you get notified anytime I upload new videos. Also, if you'd like to pick my brain about anything real estate related, you can click on the link in the description below and book a 30-minute long phone call with me at whatever time works best for you. But without further ado, let's just get right into it. Okay, my first prediction for the year of 2023, and the one that you probably all came to hear, I think average sale price is going to drop 7.5% this year. And this is why I think that, and also why you shouldn't be too worried about it. Typically, we always use a 12-month trailing year in order to determine what the average sale price is. So as I'm recording this today, it's the 12th of December, I believe. We would be using sales from January, February, March of last year in our average sale price. Now, we all know that the market in March and February of last year is nothing like it was this year. So once those months drop off, once we hit February and the month of January 22 drops off and gets replaced with January 23, we're going to start to see a big change in our average price. Our average sale price dropping is a reflection of what happened months ago, not of what's currently happening. So when you see average sale price drop in February, March, and April of next year, it doesn't necessarily mean that the sales in that month are what's driving the price down. It's because we use a 12-month trailing period. Now, our 12-month trailing period is roughly 533,000, depending on how you look at the average sale price. And that's for Halifax, Dartmouth. That includes areas like Musquodoboit, Hubbards, all those areas. Now, if I look specifically at the month of November, which is the most recent complete month that I have to look at, our average sale price was somewhere around 485. So quite a big difference from our 12-month trailing average. And if I take 7.5% off of what our current 12-month trailing average is, it would bring us to an average sale price just over 491 roughly, which is higher than what the average sale price was in November of 2022. So even though my prediction is that price is going to go down on average, I don't think that we're going to see much of a budge on price all year long, unless interest rates continue to climb. Which brings me to my second prediction. I think you're going to see interest rates stabilize this year. We may see one more rate hike in January, but after that, I predict that interest rates are going to remain relatively stable all year long. Now, I know some of you are hearing that and thinking, thank God, I'm sick of hearing about all these interest rate increases every month. It's not necessarily a good thing, because what I mean by stabilize is that they're not going to go down either. I think we're going to have to wait until 2024 in order to see rates start to decline. Okay, my third prediction, and it's a carbon copy of my prediction from the year of 2022. Sales will be down this year. They'll be down even more than they were last year. And it's for the same reason that I talked about the 12-month trailing period, right? When we look at year-to-date sales numbers, we're including the entire year. Now, Q1 and Q2 of 2022 were big months. We had high sales. Now, Q3 and Q4 were extremely low. I think Q1 to Q2 of next year is not going to be as high as Q1 and Q2 of last year, but I think Q3 and Q4 of next year will be better than Q3 and Q4 of this year. And I think overall, you're going to see sales down a little bit. My prediction, 5 to 10%. Prediction number 4, and I'm going out on a limb on this one. I'm predicting that 2023 is going to be the year of the VTB. Now, if you don't know what a VTB is, it stands for Vendor Take-Back Mortgage. No, it is not a cashback. The way it works is when somebody has a lot of capital or a lot of equity in a property that they own, they can lend out a portion of the equity that they would gain on the sale to a potential buyer in the form of a second mortgage. So let's just say I'm looking to buy a property, and let's just say my closing costs are 100 grand. Now, I may have 100 grand, but I may not want to part ways with it. And if I know that the person that I'm buying the property from owes nothing on that property and I'm buying it for $1 million, then I know that they have no shortage of cash. So what I might say to them is, I will buy this property from you for $1 million, but I want a $100,000 VTB secured against the property in the form of a second mortgage that you are going to lend me and I'm going to make payments on it. So VTB term could be anything, 2, 3, 4 years, and I'm going to pay interest on that loan that you give me. So the reason that looks attractive from a seller's perspective is that they're getting a bulk of cash up front that they don't necessarily have plans for. They can take a very small portion of that. Again, let's say in this scenario they were netting $1 million. They could take 10% of that, $100,000, and lend it out, and now that money's making money for them. It's extremely attractive from the buyer's perspective because the $100,000 that they had to put down on the property, they just got back. And now they can take that money and go and invest that if they choose. The main reason I think that they are going to be very common this year is because we're seeing demand start to soften, but price is still relatively high. So sellers aren't in a huge hurry to sell their property and they still kind of expect peak price. But there's less buyers out there, so there's not a lineup of people knocking on the door to buy the property. Most sellers would not give you a VTB if they can just sell it for $1 million to somebody else. So if you're the only potential buyer, but price is still high and that owner still has a lot more equity in that house than they had ever thought that they would, considering what just happened over the last 2 years, they might be willing to part with that $100,000 and loan it to you. So as properties start to sit for longer and price does not come down, VTBs are going to start looking a lot more attractive to both buyers and sellers. VTBs are a tough one to explain in a video. So if you do have any questions about VTBs and how to utilize them, you can click on the link in the description below and book a 30-minute long phone call with me. I'd be more than happy to give you the rundown on how they work and what you need to avoid. Or alternatively, just post your questions in the comment section. I'd be more than happy to answer them in there too if I can. And prediction number 5, and this is going to be a tough one for me to track. I'm going to see if I can get numbers on this because I don't necessarily know how to track all the numbers. But I think a lot of real estate agents are going to hand their license in this year. And I hate to say it, it's not all going to be new agents. Don't think that if you're a new agent listening to this that I'm talking about you and that it's only new agents that are going to drop off. There's going to be a lot of experienced agents that are going to drop off. The pie is no doubt smaller now, and our agent base has grown so much over the past 2 years. I'm going to try and track down the numbers, but last I heard, I think in Halifax, Dartmouth, I think we sat around, I want to say it's like 1,600 to 2,000 agents, like somewhere around there. It might be more. It just seems to me like there's so many real estate agents nowadays. But let's just say it is 2,000. Just for simple math purposes, it's 2,000. I think that we're probably going to see a 20% drop. And again, it's not going to be all new agents. It's going to be the agents that don't know how to work for business. It's going to be the agents that came into a business and had stuff handed to them. They never learned how to prospect. They never learned how to work a database. They never learned how to grow a business. And it's going to be awfully hard to grow a business this year. Okay, y'all, those are my 5 predictions for the year of 2023. I'm curious to know what you think. What do you think is going to happen in the real estate market in 2023? Let me know in the comment section below. I would love to get your input on it. And I'm also curious. At the beginning of the video, I mentioned that there were some of these predictions that I hoped would come true and some that I hoped wouldn't come true. I'm curious. Let me know in the comment section below which ones do you think that I'm hoping for and which ones do you think I'm hoping against. All right, everybody, thanks for taking the time to check out this video, and I will see you on the next one.